Good evening, folks. And tonight we're going to give out the new rankings of every team that has made it. And the new rankings are out. Well, after Alabama's big win over Georgia, here's how it goes. Alabama number 1, Texas number 2, Ohio State number 3, Tennessee number 4, Georgia number 5, Oregon number 6, Penn State number 7, Miami number 8, Missouri number 9, Michigan number 10, USC number 11, Ole Miss number 12, LSU number 13, Notre Dame number 14, Clemson number 15, Iowa State number 16, BYU number 17, Utah number 18, Oklahoma number 19, Kansas State number 20, Boise State number 21, Louisville number 22, Illinois number 24, and UNLV. Actually, let me find it here. Indiana number 23, Illinois number 24, and UNLV number 25. Okay, I got it all there. I messed up a little bit. My apologies. Well, so obviously we got Indiana in the mix now. So, let's now look at the final scores. Obviously, Georgia beat out Indiana. Not Indiana. Georgia got beat out by Alabama, 41-34. On a late surge there by Georgia, down 28-0, now 21-0 after one, then 28-0, then a late surge by Georgia. Unbelievable. 30-7 there by Georgia. But they came out short. Texas, 35-13 over Mississippi State. Didn't look like they really had a chance. But Texas pretty much, they kind of gave Mississippi State a chance. They didn't really give Mississippi State a chance. But Mississippi State did kind of show a little bit of backbone, not really let Texas really get much going other than allow some scoring. Now, Ohio State on the other hand, they forced turnovers and turnover on downs, and that's pretty much what was the killer for Michigan State. Ohio State pretty much dominated the line of scrimmage, 38-7. When Ohio State was up 10-0, if it hadn't been for that field goal, the game would have been tied at 7. But Ohio State took advantage of that to make it a 10-0 lead, and then they tied it up. Then they cut it down to a 3-point deficit. But Ohio State just went right on to work from there on out, winning 38-7. Now they got Iowa coming up, so that'll be an interesting game. Tennessee had a bye week, so they didn't really play anybody. Now, we jump, obviously Georgia just got done there. Now you got UCLA and Oregon. Oregon had a really good game from start, but the one interception was a pick 6, which is something they really need to watch out for. Now, they will take on Ohio State in a couple of weeks, but now they got to take on Michigan State, a team that Ohio State just got done beating, which is a team they will have to watch out for. Now, Oregon, on the other hand, they got a lot going for them. Because they were ahead 28-3 at that point until that interception was made. Then it became 23-10. But then one more field goal came around, made 28-13. But then the fourth quarter, only one more touchdown came around. That made it 34-13. And that was the final. That was all she ever wrote. Oregon is pretty much, a good team. I'm not looking past them. We'll talk about everyone's opponent going down through here. Now, Penn State, they struggled with Illinois. 7-7, long time until the fourth quarter. Then Penn State seemed like they finally broke away from Illinois, but they could not break away from Illinois for the longest time. Now, Virginia Tech and Miami. That was nearly an upset by Miami, by Virginia Tech. almost an upset. That close. But due to overturn call, it wasn't. Missouri gets the bye. Clock was over with, but Missouri gets the bye. Then it's Michigan and Miami. Michigan and Minnesota, excuse me. Minnesota down 24-3 in the fourth quarter. Minnesota literally comes storming back in that quarter. Michigan kicks a field goal. Actually, they're only down like 27-17, but they come storming back and cut down to only a field goal. Chance to claim the ball for an onside kick. They kick the onside kick. I had to replay this video I don't know how many stinking times to see if anybody was even offsides for Minnesota. Nobody was. And then some Michigan fans, I'm not saying all of them, some Michigan fans claim there was an illegal touch. Meaning like they touched the ball before it reached 10 yards, or because the ball has to go at least 10 yards before it can be touched by a player from Minnesota or whoever's playing the game. It has to go that far if you're one of them. So there you have it. It has to go that far. And obviously, I looked at it several times and the ball was beyond 10 yards if it were ever touched by anybody at that point. I looked at it several times, rewind several times. I did not see anyone from Minnesota touch the ball before it reached 10 yards. The only time I ever saw a Minnesota player touch it was number 43 beyond where it was beyond the 10-yard mark, where he actually recovered it for Minnesota. Minnesota came to play in the second half, no doubts. Now, hats off, Michigan's got to travel to Washington, so that's going to be an interesting game. Then you have, next is Ole Miss getting upset by Kentucky, 20-17, on a last-second field goal by Kentucky. Interesting game there. Then LSU just stomps South Alabama, 42-10. Then Notre Dame kind of pulls away from Louisville, 31-24. Then Clemson stomps Stanford, 40-14. Actually, I forgot about USC. Number 11 USC comes away with the win over Wisconsin, 38-21. That was a pretty good game as well. Considering they were down 21-10 at halftime, USC was, and they come out storming in the second half, down 21-17, then another touchdown ahead by 3, and then another touchdown. They pretty much all just ran away with it after that. Then you got, where were we? Yeah, Clemson. 40-14 in favor of Clemson. Clemson pretty much had a good game. They pretty much walked away with the victory. And then you have Iowa State and Houston. Iowa State pretty much stomped Houston, wipes Houston off the map, 20-0. And then you have Baylor and BYU. BYU sums past Baylor, 34-28. And then Utah taking on Arizona. Utah gets upset by Arizona, 23-10. And then Oklahoma beats out Auburn, 27-21. Then Kansas State beats out Oklahoma State, 42-20. They beat them like a drum, I should say. And then Boise State ambushes Washington State, 45-24. And then obviously we got down. Then Indiana gets past Maryland, stomps past Maryland, 42-28. Then we have, we already talked about Illinois and Penn State. And then UNLV stomps past Fresno State 59-14. So that tells you a lot about these teams. But now we'll talk more about their oppositions coming on for next week, because tomorrow night, maybe tomorrow afternoon. So with that being said, it's going to be a very interesting time frame for everyone on here. So if you think, comment down below who you think is really overrated, because Ohio State, I don't think they're overrated. They got challenged there by Michigan State for a little bit, and then they finally picked it up. Iowa, I think, is going to be a good challenge for Ohio State, because Iowa, I don't think, is weak by any means. They get overlooked a lot constantly. Alabama, they kind of let up a little bit. If Alabama was so stinking good, they never would allow Georgia to get a point on the board. But they allowed them to get points on the board. But let's just see how good this turns out to be. As a Michigan, I'm still not convinced they're that good, because Minnesota is just weak. Minnesota never should have stayed with them. They should have won. If anything, they should have won like 28 to. They should have won 27-0, if anything. Well, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications. That being said, I'm out of here. Peace.